welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and I have a Dealer's Choice League from an anonymous Patreon subscriber who just wanted to support the channel, and I'm choosing to use that Dealer's Choice to play Cori-Steel Cutter in Izzet Delver. Cutter is a card that immediately impactful in Modern and Standard, and it's been a role player in Legacy. I'm not sure if this is the correct way to build these spell-based tempo decks, but it's certainly powerful. Let's read this thing. 1 and a red for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature has +1/+1 trample and haste. It equips for 1 and a red, and the important part is flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white monk creature token which with prowess, you may attach this equipment to it. That means every time you cast 2 spells in a turn, which a cantrip shell is built to do, you get a 2/2 haste trample comped. Just, here you go, that's for you. If you cast another spell, it's a 3/3. And if it doesn't die right away, it leaves behind a 1/1 prowess for the next turn. As we know in the history of Eternal Magic, Monastery Mentor, extremely powerful, restricted in Vintage. Kind of fell off in Legacy because 3 mana is a lot. Creatures aren't what they used to be, but this is an equipment. This is a lot harder to kill than a creature. It also is a lot harder to kill than a Monastery Mentor. It doesn't go off quite as hard, but it does stick around and do the work throughout. The equipment ability is not to be ignored either. You could just have this in play and then at 4 mana cast a Murktide and equip Steel Cutter to it, and you're in. Same thing, you have 3 mana in the mid game, play Dragon's Rage Channeler, equip, attack for 4. Sure. Tamiyo dealing real damage, survives Lightning Bolt. There's a bunch of stuff that this card does at a bunch of efficient rates that we like, and they intersect perfectly for a deck like Izzet Delver. Historically, anything that gives Delver grinding power and card advantage is worth exploring. Sometimes it's broken, sometimes it's just good, and Cori-Steel Cutter is definitely grindy card advantage, conditional card advantage, but grindy card advantage in a deck that really likes to have it. Outside of that, this is just Izzet tempo. There are no actual Delvers, there's Tamiyo instead. I got this list from a recent undefeated run through a Magic Online challenge by Sylvia Wataru, who is a Magic Online grinder. It's my first outing. Maybe Delver's right, maybe Tamiyo's perfect. I don't know, I didn't make these decisions, I'm just trusting the experts. But I'm going in. This is Cori-Steel Cutter. I'm on the play in round 1. Just checking the mana base. Do I have a Thundering Falls? No. We're on mono untapped lands. Got the Steam Vents instead of the Thundering Falls. That's the 5th Volcanic Island. I will keep this. Oh, my opponent just said they just played against Thraben U and now me. Just running through the Eternal Glory podcast in this league. I believe I am just going to lead on Tamiyo rather than hold up Force of Will. Obviously, I wish one of these 3 redundant lands was just literally any blue card. Opponent's on 6. I'm going to play Tamiyo here. There are 5 0-drops in the deck that if I draw, I can play Cutter and then immediately bobble and then get the thing, because the Cutter can be the first spell of the turn. It just cares if it's in play when you cast your second. Opponent mulls to 6, got a Polluted Delta, a Volcanic Island, and a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay. Depending on what I draw here, I'll decide if I'm going to Wasteland or try to develop. Good chance this is a mirror match. Blown out by not leaning into Volcanic Island on turn 1. I thought I was clever. Like, if this Steam Vents was Volcanic Island, I would have just played it, but this being Steam Vents and this being my only fetch land put me in a weird spot where it was kind of pick one or the other. Do I want to try to cheese here, or do I want to meet them in the field of combat? I'm going to try to cheese. Okay. Good to know. That might be something that somebody more dialed into the Izzet tempo play patterns would have recognized immediately. I've been busy playing control decks and combo decks because that is both what I like and what the format is about. The format's about combo and I like control, and tempo is just sort of always there if I need it. There's a Ponder. This is good for the second card type guaranteed, plus whatever the Surveil is good for. Surveil dump to Ponder. Cutter also reads when you cast your second spell each turn. Oh, if I were to brainstorm plus daze on my opponent's turn, that also makes a monk. Did not shuffle their ponder. Okay. Preordain. All right. Well, Tamio's going to attack first, and then I'll play Channeler plus Preordain, leaving back the fetch land. Or it's generally better to fetch before you Preordain. All right, I will fetch now. That does hurt brainstorms and ponders, but I'm in velocity mode now. Preordain. Found another cutter. That's really good at getting me Delirium. I will bin that. This is almost really good. Okay, so I have Cutter that could trigger off of Channeler or Bauble next turn. I don't need both of these cards. If I take Bauble now, I'm not going to surveil away the Channeler, and I already have an artifact in the graveyard. Okay, I'm actually going to bottom, or I could save the Bauble to be a second Steel Cutter trigger down the road. That would also trigger 2 DRCs at that time. No blue cards here is the tough squeeze. All right, I'm going to bottom the Bauble, take the Channeler, and I'll pass. Keeping Bauble also insulates me from Wasteland. I could still play Cutter plus a spell next turn. This already feels like one of those games that if I lose, it's completely my fault, and it already happened. And I love that about tempo decks. Ponder. Still just 2 card types in the graveyard. Dumping a land doesn't change that. And Cutter is a non-creature spell for Dragon's Rage Channeler to surveil. Opponent with the fetch. After not shuffling Ponder. Bauble, that's 3 card types. Dumped Lightning Bolt, that's terrifying. Lightning Bolt seems like a really good card on this board, and they were just not interested. Unless they were valuing Delirium over having a removal spell. Yeah, that's more likely. They just already had the removal spell. That's a story I believe. Okay. Doing that pre-combat means I can just block here now. I will take that block because I am trying to reload in a big way next turn. You get to draw for Bauble. Any blue card would be great. Anyone at all, but especially Daze. Okay, we drew a blue card. Shotgun Steam Vents play Cutter. Dragon's Rage Channeler will generate a monk with haste. Yes, I would like to attach that. Thanks for asking. Hell yeah. Okay, we're in the business now. I have resolved the thing that can make multiple things. If they slam Murktide, I'll force it, and then try to catch up with my clues. If they Murktide backed by Daze, that's really obnoxious. Murktide backed by Force is obnoxious too, but I hope they at least have to spend 2 cards on this. Channeler, my own Murktide. That will take off Delirium. Their Murktide is 6/6. Mine can only be 4/4. Yikes. I don't think I want this. They had the Daze, just the worst. Alright, let's see if Cori-Steel Cutter can outgrind a Murktide Regent. I'm also down like a million cards on my opponent, which is the real problem here. Bauble. I guess my Murktide would have been 5/5 because Force is on the way to the graveyard. Still too small, though. I want to draw like Ponder or Preordain, something that can immediately cantrip and get me some value. Daze is not it. Alright, I'll draw with my clue. Bummer. Alright, I could draw with my clue again. That could find Bauble, which I probably would not even use. Alright, Channeler has to attack. They should block, but they do have to think about Lightning Bolt here. Or maybe that means they shouldn't block. I don't actually know. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to pass. I'm going to draw a card in response to this Bauble. I'm going to do this anyway, and let me just have a card in my hand that they don't know about. Okay, Unholy Heat's a good one for them not to know about. That kills Murktide Regent. And it continues to sell the bluff that I could have attacked last turn. But if I had Lightning Bolt, the monk would have attacked too. So they actually just missed there. Yeah, that's actually a really good signal. Generally, bluff attacks, like in limited, this comes up a lot. Like if your opponent's trying to convince you they have a pump spell and they attack with their like second best creature, but not their best creature, that's probably a bluff. Or they might just be getting me dead in 2 hits with their 10 damage in the air. Yeah, just that 1 extra pip here sucks. Can I kill my opponent this turn? How reasonable is that? I would have to draw something really good, like Brainstorm. I need a spell to even think about it. Come on, deck! You're killing me. Okay, well, they have 10 damage in the air, and I can't stop it. I can daze my own Unholy Heat and then pay for it to get an extra monk that is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. Oh, wait, prowess. Hold on. Hold your damn horses. So 3, 4. Oh, wait, and the cutter moves off it gets smaller. So this will be 3. It's 3, 6, 7, 8. I can deal 8 damage right now. Yeah, funny enough, a lightning bolt, like if this wasteland was lightning bolt or if this daze was lightning bolt, they would be dead. But unfortunately, none of those things are true. Okay. Hold on. If I attack with both before I cast a spell, I still lose because this is 7/7. Like, even if they do block one of these and I'm able to flurry damage through, I can't kill the 7/7. All right, they win. Okay. Force of Will, not ideal. Pyroblast looking great. Hydroblast, pretty good too. I'm on the play. I like Daze better there. I still got to find one more cut, though. Might just be this Daze. Abrade's another removal spell, but I already have a million of them. Yeah, I'm just going to go -1 Daze. Let's get it. It's good to know that even in the world of Cori-Steel Cutter, a big Murktide region still just breaks open the Delvermere. The deck heard me, but this is not what I meant. I need to actually play the game before I worry about that. I could use these baubles, but even then, 3 Murktides, I'm not going to have enough cards in my graveyard to use them. All right, here we go. I'm going to keep and bottom Brainstorm. Or Preordain's probably worse because specifically Tamiyo is involved. I think I would have won that last game if I had led on Volcanic Island. If I had that Dragon's Rage Channeler down a turn earlier, they did win by 4 life. Just that's compounding Surveils and at least 3 extra damage along the way. Okay, I'm going to get rid of Preordain. And here's a spot where, do I want to be a coward or live my best life? It's really bad to get wastelanded here for me, and I have all these brainstorms to continue to dig for red sources. All right, I am going to get the stupid basic island, even though I just monologued about why it was wrong game 1, but I don't have the stability this game that I did in game 1. I could have afforded to eat a wasteland in game 1. Volcanic Island. Your own Tamiyo. Alrighty. Pyroblast. All right, that will be good eventually. I am going to wasteland first because I don't want to have to think about days. Attack with Tamiyo. A block. I better get her out of combat. That's a joke. It doesn't matter when I do this, but it's still fun. All right, I found a red source. Beginning to move in the correct direction. If I put back Unholy Heat Pyroblast, then I draw Pyroblast next turn, I can play Steam Vents, Brainstorm, mill away Unholy Heat. That sounds reasonable to do. Or I could just crack my clue, get the heat in my hand. We'll see if my Tamiyo dies this turn, because we should both have Pyroblast in now. They've got a fetch land right away. Attacking for -1. I should gain a life here. Or Tamiyo should get a loyalty. Yeah, they're attacking Tamiyo. She should go up to 5. I need a flavor judge. Volcanic Island. Brainstorm. This is the same thing I did, but a turn behind when I did it. And now I have a really interesting choice of minus Tamiyo immediately to play around Pyroblast, or plus Tamiyo to play around Lightning Bolt. I'm actually going to spend my Pyroblast here first and see if I can clear this Tamiyo, or what kind of fight we're going to have around it. Okay, I could plus Tamiyo, go to the moon, or just put Brainstorm back in my hand to keep cards moving. Right, I'm going to get back Brainstorm, actually. Obviously, if Tamiyo just dies to Lightning Bolt here, it's disappointing. But if they have Pyroblast Wasteland, I'd rather have Brainstorm in my hand. Not a Wasteland, we got that covered at least. But if they have Steel Cutter into any spell, Tamiyo dies to that, that's annoying. All right, I'm going to look for a Daze here. Found one. Put back the 2 Brainstorms, I guess. And now, even if they do win the fight over this Steel Cutter, the counterspell that they fight Daze with will be their second spell. So what that means, Tamiyo will survive the turn cycle, even if they win this fight. That's 2 spells already. The cutter being in play is not ideal, but my girl Tamiyo is still around. I think I want to play control here. Removal spells don't line up particularly well versus Steel Cutter, and there isn't a Braid in my sideboard that probably should have come in. I mentioned a Braid in sideboarding and how I have a bunch of better removal, but that removal is not better versus Steel Cutter. Adjusting to new play patterns is fun, and thrown directly into the Lion's Den in a mirror match, the first time I've ever played with the card, this is awesome. Ponder. That's one spell. It could have been Pyroblasted, but I think I would rather save that for a Murktide Regent or something truly horrifying. Did not shuffle. There's Bauble, so you've got a 2/2 that can attack as a 1/1. Unholy Heat is risky here because if they have a Daze, 2 damage doesn't kill this thing. Alright, Tamiyo takes 1. Wasteland, fudge off. Alright. I'm going to redraw the Brainstorm that's on top of my deck right now, and then I'll get to my turn and hopefully brainstorm enough looks to find another red source and keep playing. Well, there's Daze. Someday that might be good. Brainstorm. Alright. Well, we've probably lost. And that sucks. Okay. Yeah, sometimes one Wasteland kills you. It usually takes 2 to really slow you down. Sometimes you just have a red source in your hand and it doesn't matter. Like, I wasted my opponent and they've hit their next 3 land drops with no problem. And I've brainstormed 3 times this game and I'm missing land drops and I'm brainstorm locked. I have Ponder to look through it and Screw beats Flood. So if these 3 cards in their hand don't go very far, like fetching a tap land here is interesting. That means they're probably not retriggering Cutter this turn. All right, Ponder's got to find the land. None of the above. Shuffle. Oh my god. Yeah, I've looked at like 23, 24 cards this game. Again, we'll see. Like, if they're just sitting on bricks or clunky stuff like Murktide, I might be able to work through that. If they just trigger this Cutter every turn of the game, that's not going to be beatable at all. I have Hydroblast for Cutter. Maybe I don't need a Braid. I do have answers. They clearly have Murktide here, and they hit the land drop, so Daze won't even challenge it. At least they don't have a mana up to equip Steel Cutter to it. All right, deck. Volcanic Island. We did it. You're saying there's a chance. Do I play around Daze, or do I get a good Brainstorm? I believe I play around Daze. Unholy Heat this Murktide right now. Okay, that issue is solved, and now can I grind back in from here? Steel Cutter being in play for 3 full turns and making 1 monk is pretty bad. But that's basically what happened to me last game too. I just couldn't trigger it 1 extra time along the course of the game. Another Murktide. That's in there, another 5/5. And they've not cast a second spell. I think I should brainstorm now for velocity. But if I draw a land, I guess I'd rather bolt even if I draw a land. I am going to brainstorm now. This opens it up to Daze. Pyroblast would get me anytime, but let's at least try to spend mana efficiently. Oh no. Alright, still no good action here. What do I want to shuffle away with Ponder? Because my ideal next turn is Pyroblast the Murktide and then Ponder. DRC can tangle. My own Cutter keeping up with their Cutter is really solid. If I'm spending mana on Cutter, when am I playing Channeler? Is a fair question to ask. I'm losing one of these cards. Do I need 2 Lightning Bolts? Murktide Regent, pretty important actually. Daze? Am I out on Daze? Is it too late for Daze? It might be too late for Daze. Okay. But Daze could trigger Cutter on their turn, even if it doesn't counter a card. Okay, I'm going to put back Bolt Cutter. That's funny, because that's a real-life thing, a Bolt Cutter. I don't really know what that is, because I don't work in the trades, but it sounds fancy. Okay. Pyroblast, Murktide Regent. Hydroblast, hell yeah. That's actually insane for me, because that lets me pick up the Volcanic Island. It lets me... Oh no! I dazed my own Pyroblast! Did I misclick? Fucking fuck. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I just misclicked. I was busy being excited about how good this exchange is going to be for me, and I counted my own damn spell. All right. Okay. I'm going to shake this one off and go do something else with my time. Well, all right. Hold on. What if I just play Murktide Regent? What if I... No, I can't pay for days. It doesn't matter. Damn it. That sucks. All right. I'm not going to decrease the quality of content by spiraling out here. I'm going to try to play the game, but obviously that is 0% to happen in a paper game of Magic. I'll just play a bigger Murktide and hope that they don't have Daze or Pyroblast in their hand. All right, now I'm done. Okay, I'm going to shake that off. Tough start to the league, and on to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw for round 2 versus Joe Dyer of MTG Goldfish. I'm going to keep my hand. This is one of those slow but selecty types. A Plains. What are you up to, man? Well, I'll be bobbling myself. This is too many lands. Bobble. A Preordain. Do I want another one of those? Sure. I'll take Preordain. That fuels Murktide, gives me options. It's a blue card for force that doesn't cost me my Murktide or my Preordain. Interesting. All right. Basic Mountain, Basic Plains. Oh, hello. We like this one. And we like it at the time it showed up. I'm going to play off of Wasteland my Cutter. Wish I had a Bobble, but double Preordain will send this thing spinning next turn. And hopefully every turn after that. Or they could Wasteland me. So it's draw a Bobble or wait a turn. I'm going to try to find a Bobble. I play 5 of them. Bottom. Bottom. All right. Didn't get there. Another instance of if I just played my dual land, the turn is better. I got to just lean into that. Stop being clever. Stop thinking anything's going to work, because nothing is. Okay. I could force pitching Borrower here. I don't really like my Circumstances versus an Ajani. Murktide's really big, though. All right, you can have a Ajani. I'll start cut some steel this turn. Ponder first. That uses the fetch land better. Lightning Bolt. Oh, I like that card even better than I liked the Preordain. Okay, Tamiyo, Unholy Heat, Lightning Bolt. Do not shuffle. Fetch for Volcanic Island. Bolt the Ajani, get a Monk, and get to work. A Boros, I hope, is the deck that really struggles with Cutter. If Swords of Plowshares and Lightning Bolt are their answers to this thing, it's going to be really tough to keep up with. Caracas, this is not a legend. Amped Raptor, that's 2 spells. Let's see what it hits. Hit Oscillate Pride. I think jamming Murktide and protecting it with double force is just a better plan than giving them a 2-for-1 on these random shitbags. Oh. Or, what if I cut so much steel that it doesn't even matter? Right, Preordain. Yes, equip. Yes, equip. A third Cutter, but no way to use it. I don't think I want these things. Neither of them. Bottom, bottom. DRC. Attacking doesn't make a lot of sense because they have a 2-1 first strike. I can at least keep Oscillate Pride mostly at bay. Swords to Plowshares, you got it. Wasteland, still annoying. I'm still doing okay here. Yeah, they still can't attack into this. Unholy Heat. I think I am just going to pass the turn. And then I have the option of Brazen Borrower or Unholy Heat plus Counterspell, which is 2 spells for Cutter. It's also multiple instances of Prowess. Okay, now we're into that spot again, where I can Force of Will this Discharge and then kill Oscillate Pride and get a bunch of action. All right, I'm going to force pitching Brazen Borrower. I still believe in Murktide Regent. Okay, there's that. Prowess trigger resolves. See if this force resolves. And then Unholy Heat targeting Ocelot Pride. Now I get a bunch more monks. Equip. Equip. All right. Had 2 spells, just had to do a little work to get it. And whatever, I'll take out the Caracas. I have this Wasteland sitting around. Another Caracas. I love just unlocking bad deck building for people. Okay, Amped Raptor. It would cost me Murktide Regent. I think I'd rather roll the dice and see if I need to counter what comes out of it. Another Amped Raptor. All right, you have a wall of 2/1 first strike creatures. And I have a wall of self-replacing prowess creatures. Let's go. All right. 0 drops. Busted. Who knew? Mishra's Bauble. Trigger, 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 trigger. A Surveil. There's a land on top. Love it. Prowess, prowess. And I will move the cutter over because they have double blocks if I don't make a hasty. And they have a wall of single blocks if I do make a hasty. Broadside Bombardier's on top of the deck. That's cool. If I attack with everything now, I go down to 2 monks. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm about to get the Air Force online. I'm drawing Misty Rainforest. Am I countering Broadside? I have a lot of blockers. All right, you can have that. I'm at 17 life. Yeah, the scariest part of Broadside Bombardiers is when you're at low life total when it happens, or if you just can't block it because of Menace, and neither of those are true. And I think I should just shove Murktide here. If my opponent's been sandbagging Swords to Plowshares that long, fine. I've got instant, instant, sorcery, instant, sorcery, sorcery. I can't make this full size without shrinking Channeler. So I think I just make it less than full size. 7/7 gets it done just as fast. As long as I still have the 3/3 to go next to it. Okay. Not the cleanest I've ever played Magic, but made it work. Cutter went off that game, though. Great showcase. Braid is just a removal spell. Hydroblast kills at least some of the stuff we saw in their deck. None of this other stuff looks very good. And Consign could counter in a Johnny Flip trigger or an Amped Raptor trigger, but I'm not trying to do that. They seem to have really good mana. Back off of Daze a little. I'm actually going to back off of Daze a lot. Let's go. Okay, keep. I can fend off some early threats while developing a board of my own. Good chance this is a Blood Moon deck, just based on the number of basics we saw. All right, that can die immediately. And I think I am just going to heat this now before anything might happen. I don't want to get mana-tithed by a content creator. Could anything be so embarrassing? So humiliating. Chrome Mox, all right. And it's the piss frame. Smells like R. Kelly's sheets. Pitched a Static Prison. Voice of Victory. I do not have another removal spell ready. I am going to counter that exiling Tameo. Bonus down to 1 card in hand. Obviously drawing the card that would have been the best possible had that thing resolved, but I don't regret my decisions. Not yet. I might soon. Caracas! Cooked. Completely cooked. And a spell. Alright. Out of gas in top deck mode. I will ponder. Preordained Bauble. Yeah, these are not the things I'm looking for. Shuffle. What if, hypothetically speaking, my deck ever drew a land in any matchup ever? Right, Static Prison. It's good to know about, but it doesn't immediately impact my life. A Bauble, a different Bauble. It can look at the Static Prison again as I take 1 damage. Okay, we did it. I'm going to play, well, they can put Planeswalker Side Tameo in a Bauble too. This is just any permanent, non-land permanent. Yeah, I could bolt their creature. I could make a medium-sized Murktide, put it in the Static Prison, and try to wait out their energy. But if they draw any source of recurring creatures, Guide of Souls cooks me on that plan. All right, I will play Tameo. As if they have to use Static Prison on that, it clears the runway for Murktide. And if they don't bounce it, I'm not taking any damage. And if I get into combat with it, then I get a clue. You can't just sit on this forever. All right, I'll take the clues. We're in a little brainstorm stalemate right now. And I'll pass. I don't have to do anything here. We're going to see a Surveil land, and the more this game moves on, it does not look like game 1 where my opponent had 4 basic lands in play. I don't think I'm going to get Blood Mooned here. Galvanic Discharge. Okay, so this doubles up on the Caracas business. That's fine. This at least costs energy to do. Guide of Souls can hit me for 1 again, and I'll draw with my clue. I think I actually want to... I'm actually just going to draw. Like, I was thinking Brainstorm first, but I kind of like all the cards in my hand, is the problem. The air quotes problem. And now I get to unload the business. 2 spells, attack for 2, Big Delirious, Channeler. I'm going to hold back Bauble to re-trigger Cutter next turn. Prison can lock down the Cutter, but that leaves behind 2 creatures. I feel like you kind of have to respect Channeler here. Okay, we've got a sudden burst of energy. There's the Prison. Yep, had to take the bigger creature. Not surprising. Can buff the Guide of Souls here. They are choosing to do it. It's a 3/4. And now the hand is empty and we're in party mode. Okay, if I go Murktide, Bolt Ajani, that triggers Cutter. Yeah, sounds good. Murktide will be bigger if I bolt first. Does that matter? No. All right. Bolt Ajani. The prowess happens all the same. Murktide, hungrily gobbling up all of the instants and sorceries. I actually do not want to move the Cutter because I have a better attack if I don't. Oh, I had Bauble still in hand. If I move Cutter, I have 2 3/3s. All right, it actually was better to move it. This card gives you a lot to think about. I'm impressed by the raw power of it and by the depth of decision making it requires. I feel like I've made 10% of decisions correctly with this card around so far in the games we've played. Pyroblast off the top, one of the best draws, but this Cutter is going nuts. They're out of energy. I'm getting my DRC back next turn. Okay. Ponder. Start there. This is a lot of sweet cards. Brazen Borrower can cook that Cat Warrior forever. Braid can finish off Guide of Souls. Okay, I think I want Brazen Borrower now. Petty Theft the Cat Warrior, though Petty Theft and Guide of Souls resets it. That's probably better. All right, yeah, I'll reset that guy. Prowess going crazy. And I get a fresh Monk now. I would like to move it over. And... all right, opponent's just tapping out here. I was about to decide if I wanted to make sure combat is unassailable or offer a trade. I think I would have just offered a trade. This thing, monks are so free at this point. Just, wow. Okay. Wrapping my head around this one. Let's go. On to the next round. Getting better. The 9th installment of the NYSE Vintage Open Series is coming. This 15 proxy vintage tournament with Power 9 prizes takes place on Saturday, June 14th, 2025 in Long Island, New York, and has a $500 entry fee. That's a hefty entry, but the guaranteed prizes for top 8 are unlimited Black Lotus, Ancestral Recall, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. The NYSE Open 8 went well for me last year. Someone better come stop me from getting another Lotus. Will it be you? I'll be at the NYSE Open 9 on June 14th, and I hope to see you there. Register on melee.gg or use the link in the video description. I'm on the draw for round 3. I am going to keep... I don't like this many dazes on the draw generally. I do like Cutter plus Bauble in my hand. All right, another Tameo matchup. Found the land. That makes things a little easier. I'm just going to fetch land pass, saving this Bauble for Cutter. A Flooded Strand. Taking those big beats. Yeah, I'm not going to fetch or do anything here. Opponent's fetching in my upkeep. A Plains. Alright, just drawing a card with their clue now. That's fair. Alright, I'm going to try to cut some steel. Cut some Cori-Steel. And I'm in the spot now that if they fight over this, my daze means I don't get a monk this turn, but I am going to win the fight over this. So daze that force that pitched to Ponder. Wow, another force. But the insanely messed up thing here, though, is that even from 0 lands, I can trigger Cutter next turn. All right, Days 2 Forest sets me back 2 lands. And I will park the bus. The plan is Bauble plus something next turn. Something TBD. Heat or Brainstorm are both available. The Tamiyo has already undone the 2 cards I pitched to Forest. It's generated the 2 clues. Brainstorm, pretty good. Misty Rainforest doesn't get me the 4th Delirium type, so I guess I'm just going to cast Brainstorm. I'm going to Bauble first, get a little info. Bauble, you see a Prismatic ending. I don't like that. All right, Brainstorm, let's at least get a Monk on the way through. Lightning Bolt I do kind of like. Got to put some of these lands back, and I put 1 damage on Tamiyo at least. Prismatic ending sucks ass. And because of the Bauble, I'm just retrying everything from the Brainstorm. The good news is, if they end the Cutter, I still have a Monk. If they end the Monk, I still have a Cutter. That's how card advantage works. Powerful stuff. Okay, I'm gonna Ponder. So I currently have 0 damage. I can make it 4/5. I can kill Tamiyo here. Ponder gives me both Delirium and Prowess trigger. All right, I will keep the Brainstorm. I will quickly shuffle away all those lands. Had enough of those, thank you. And Bolt is the most efficient answer to Tamiyo, so that's the one I will use. I'm not sure if Unholy Heat will get another target in this match, but that is also available. I could have just heated Tamiyo, attacked my opponent for 2, but I don't think that 2 life is going to be the difference. Okay, it costs 2 cards to deal with a Monk that had already attacked for 6. That was a really good exchange, even though it was handled quickly. I think this Cori-Steel Cutter card might be good. Brainstorm found a land. There's still a clue in the bank. I'm going to Brainstorm now. I have more lands than I'll ever need in my life. I think I will hold on to this Wasteland. If they get Meticulous Archive here, that's something I can punish. And I guess I'm just going to play Murktide. What's it doing here if not attacking for a bunch? Exiling all instants. I can get Delirium again at will. Fetched a basic island in the end step. Creepy. Were they show and tell all along? Oh, fuck, that's so bad. It's not even that bad. I have Unholy Heat in my hand. I can replay Murktide at some point. That's a good exchange for them, but it's not devastating. Okay, Unholy Heat versus Lightning Bolt. I'm going to Bolt Teferi. And then I'm going to Bauble them. Lauren revealed on top. Okay. I could just play out a fresh Murktide. This really hurts my Delirium. It doesn't have to. I have 2 Murktides here. Okay, I'm just going to play a 3/3 Murktide, leave all my spells in the graveyard. I get a redraw. They draw Lorien. Right, Lorien's been cycled. Another basic island. Something's happening in the end step. Dress down. All right, so they don't want me playing another Murktide next turn. This one's still 3/3 though. And that suddenly reveals that this might be a Dreadnought strategy. Like, maybe they're just a blue-white control deck with a dress down in it, but that's more suspicious than I would like. Stock up. All right. That, I feel like Null Drifter is something that this deck is capable of, which means holding on to this Unholy Heat all this time might actually work for me. A Tundra. Somewhere to put a Wasteland. I like it. And that gives me Delirium again. I'm actually going to waste in their main phase because I don't want them flashing in Dress Down for my turn. If they want to flash in Dress Down or Doorkeeper Thrall or some dumb shit here, they're going to have to do it with an end step pending. Okay. They Swords of Plowshare Tamiyo. Spell would be great. Another one. All right. They're down to 2 cards. I did draw the spell I was looking for. Ponder. The 4th Murktide Regent. I don't want that, but I will take this Ponder. And fetch. Volcanic Island. Ponder. Okay. I could play Dragon's Rage Channeler instead of Murktide. And then have Force of Will up. What does that even do? It makes them answer my question, but the problem is Daze sucks. I'm not keeping this. All right, Brazen Bar I'm much happier with. I'm not going to play around Daze. And I hope they don't get me with that. Nothing I've seen in their deck indicates that they might have Daze in it. It would be a really weird choice of cards to have access to. Ponder. We're in this mid going into late game situation, though, where the blue-white deck might have more answers in it than I have threats in my deck. And even if I draw a Cutter off the top, it might not be easy to trigger it. But Cutter is exactly what you want versus a deck like this. Another damn Teferi. All right. All right, opponent. Chill the fuck out. I can't answer it. Cutter would be a great draw here. Wasteland, terrible draw. My deck's not even listening to me. It's not even trying. I am not going to play out this Wasteland. I'd rather brainstorm it away or let them run into it somehow. Hey. Okay. Now I'm going to play Wasteland because the mana is useful. Cutter. And I'm going to Petty Theft Tamiyo. And even if they brainstorm in response, Tamiyo dies because it'll flip on my turn and be a 2 loyalty planeswalker versus my 2 power creature. I would like to equip. Tamiyo's gone. Attack with my monk. Got 13 points. Let's get through them. Fetch and response. Is this a Snapcaster deck? Is this something that they're going to interact with? Oh, Wandering Emperor. I mean, sure. That's fine. Like, exiling a card that appeared for free is not a big deal. I do need to draw a spell, though, because I have Brazen Borrower in the bank now. Just anything that costs 1 or 2 gets me the double spell. A second Cutter would be ideal. Okay, correct their clue. So if they draw 1 more card this turn, all right, there goes Tamiyo. Now I'm pretty interested in the multi-spell. New Sense of Urgency. Tamiyo has flipped. Wandering Emperor plus on nothing. That's a spell. Let's go. I could have just played Borrower and equipped it if I missed here, but I did better than miss. Preordain. There's a weird pause on this Preordain. That would actually be pretty cool if my opponent tried to get too clever and force this, because I already have my second spell ready to go. If I can get 2 cards out of a Preordain here, I'm pretty hyped. And we're very close to that sequence I mentioned of play Murktide and manually equip Cutter to it. That can happen next turn. 2 lands, bottom, disappointing. Good spell. Ponder. We love Ponder. Okay, Ponder. I'll cast that. Make the equip. Another Cutter. Let's go. All right, Cutter into DRC. This is what I want to be doing in life. Top. Do not shuffle. And I'm going to attack Tamiyo for 1 here. I want it to cost them their Tamiyo if they buy back Prismatic Ending. That's just a card I'm pretty worried about right now. And do I think wasting them off their 5th land is better than casting Brazen Borrower? No, I do not. If they tap out for Lorien Revealed here, that's not a big deal. That's a huge crack of damage they're taking next turn. If they hard cast Force of Will, like I can just Wasteland in my upkeep if they leave up 5 mana and pass. Or they might just force the Brazen Borrower in the end step, which is also fine. Brainstorm. Okay. They can make a 2/2 this turn. They found a land. I don't know if they even wanted that. Wow. Hurling away the Wandering Emperor to remove a second free card. That rules for me. If it's what they got to do, then it's what they got to do. I'm just saying, I am very happy with that exchange. Here's a fetch for land number 5. Mystic Sanctuary. All right, I couldn't have stopped that. They had enough islands. Prismatic Ending going to be on top of their deck. Stock up. Shit. All right, well, that can answer the Cutter at the cost of half of the stock up, and I am recutting on my turn. Yeah, this Steel Cutter dealt with the entirety of Wandering Emperor, because Wandering Emperor went -2 on a monk, plus on nothing, -2 on a monk, and then they still needed Prismatic Ending. Some ridiculous exchanges achieved here. Force of Will on Brazen Borrower, pitching Dress Down. All right. They did have Force of Will last turn. My read was not ridiculous. Cutter. Another one. And I think Dragon's Rage Channeler is a better second spell to play here. Yes, equip. There's a land on top of my deck, and I know that, though. It deals more damage to attack with DRC. Still got to work on Tamiyo. Can't have them rebuy in their removal or their stock ups. And I'm all in here. F6. I'm not even going to bluff Daze. I would have used it last turn if I had it. Right, plus Tamiyo. Another stock up. Stock up versus Cori-Steel Cutter. 2 cards from the most recent 2 standard releases just doing work in Legacy. That's what I like to see. Who needs Modern Horizons? You can just put cool cards in standard and they'll make it down to us. Prismatic Ending. All right, once again had to deal with the cutter that already did something. I am unfortunately not drawing anything that's going to help this situation. I knew I was drawing a land here. This attack is no good. All right, I'm going to attack Tamiyo with both and hope that they respect literally anything. All right, no respect for anything. I will Wasteland the Tundra at this point. Double white could be an important metric. We've seen Wandering Emperor in the deck already. Plus Tamiyo and Make a Clue. They're down to 20 cards in their deck. I wonder what their win condition is. Cracking a Clue. That's 2 cards drawn this turn. If they draw any more cards this turn, ooh, red mana revealed. There might be 1/4 Aerlingus in this list. In my own Tamiyo. Alright, I'll be honest this time. I'm just going to attack Tamiyo with DRC. Swords to Plowshares. Before it went minus, so I gained an extra life there that I didn't need to. Tamiyo. Murktide. I'm dumping him out. It's go time. This is what I got. Bang. Pass. Tamiyo can pick up Swords to Plowshares here and remove Murktide, but if I don't add the Murktide, then I'm not pressuring the Tamiyo ultimate. Decking and timing out my opponent are both on my mind here. Wow, Tamiyo went for stock up. Disrespectful stuff. So they're either digging for multiple removal spells, or if they have a 1 of 4th Aerlingus kind of thing, they might be digging for that. But they could have just gotten Swords to Plowshares and removed Murktide, and still had Tamiyo Planeswalker and Tamiyo Creature available versus my Monk plus Tamiyo. Alright, well, I'll block. I have a 6/6. This is not free. Cool. They might be about to Supreme Verdict anyway. That would make sense. Alright, there we go. Bobble. Well, I do not have the ability here to wait to trigger this bobble off something cool. Daze, I will be shuffling that away. 15 cards left in my opponent's deck to 22 in mine. Preordain. All right. 12:45 on the clock to 15:40. Another Tamiyo. Kraken Clue. That's 2 draws. Cutter. Cutter. Wasteland is not what I want, ever. Though, if I could take them off red. Okay, bottom top. Taking them off red might actually impact their ability to cast their win con if 4th Aerlingus is how they actually win games. Because I haven't seen a way that deals damage yet. I guess I saw Wandering Emperor, technically. Another Plow. I'm at 23 life. You got 12 cards in your deck. I gotta see a win con. If this is blue-white control that just plays 1 Thassa's Oracle because they know they can outgrind everyone down to the bottom of their deck, I'd be so impressed. I don't think that's a real thing, though. But I do think it rules. Wow, we're Force of Negationing Mishra's Baubles. That's the phase of the game we're arrived in. Prismatic Vista. Does that have anything left to fetch? Let's find out together. There is a basic mountain. Okay. I think I'm going to get Lingus at the bottom line of this. Grab another stock up with Tamiyo. Rather than plus and draw half your deck next turn, just going for whatever you're going for this turn. There's got to be some win the game button in here somewhere. But this is what I don't like about Jeskai Control in the current metagame. You can either build it over-indexed on win conditions, and then it's just kind of bad. Or you can build it with 1/4 Aerlingus to win the super controlled games. And in that case, games like this happen where my opponent's been in control for basically, it's turn 18. I think they've been in control of this game since about turn 8. Oh, there it is on top. All right. Well, we found their win con, and I cannot interact with it. Steel Cutter. I might be able to take the Monarch back from them, though, if they get sloppy. 7 cards in the deck. They hit me. They have to draw from the Monarch. That's 6 cards in the deck. This is 10 damage coming through. Oh, they returned 4th Aerlingus with Tamiyo for a second round of beats. That makes sense. Cool. All right. They're not going to accidentally deck themselves before they deal 23 damage. It's hard to do from here. They have Basic Mountain, so Wasteland's not that effective versus this plan. They have Mystic Sanctuary and Tamiyo that can rebuy the 1 of Lingus. All good stuff. Can I draw a spell? Cutter, action. Nope, no chance. Okay, so the Cutters were incredible, but did not get over the wall. Having played I think I got a Murktide bounced by Teferi twice this game, maybe even 3 times. The Teferi's lining up perfectly with the Murktides every time I went for it was probably the difference. But now I get cards like Pyroblast, and life gets easier. All right, Pyroblast coming in. Hydroblast counters their Pyroblast and their 4th Aerolingus. There's not a lot of targets for this. It's in the maybe pile. Force of Negation is more fight versus Teferi and Prismatic Ending. I'd probably be cutting Dazes here. They're so bad in the late game. Wasteland's pretty bad too. Yeah, maybe I do bring in 1 Hydroblast for sideboard cards. This last Daze can go too. Okay, I'm going to go for it like this. Hydroblast could also deal with something like Blood Moon or Ruination if they have access to those cards. Both cards I've played in decks like my opponents in the past. Okay, I will keep this hand. It's not blazing out of the gates, but it sees a lot of cards. I think I'm just going to cast Preordain and bobble them. If I'm doing that, I'll bobble them first. This have a Ponder come in, Preordain, Channeler. I don't want this land. I'll take the Channeler, sure. Okay. I really want a Cutter early and often. That's just like the best thing I have. I've drawn 2 of the 3 Wastelands I left in my deck. Ponder, Cutter, Lightning Bolt. Okay. Channeler. I'm going to Ponder and see what Ponder brings, and then I'll decide if I'm going to play this Bobble or not. Murktide. Not ready for that. I'll take the Delirium. All right, there's Cutter, but I don't want Force. I don't want this land either. Awkward. Well, I found the best card and a series of bad cards. I will take the good one, and I'll hold my Mishra's Bauble now. I have Bolt for Cutter, though. Maybe I was supposed to surveil away the land while I could draw with Bauble. Then if it's Force blue card, it's my top 2. I'm in business. And tempo's hard. Anyone who thinks this deck is easy or brainless is in fact easy and brainless themselves. Okay. I have this fella now. I'm going to bobble my opponent. I know I have a land on top. Supreme Verdict, sweet. Good one to know about. 3 mana. Prismatic Ending. Pyroblast. Just what I've always wanted. Pyroblast isn't bad, though. If their follow-up is Teferi, I'm ready for it. Scalding Tarn can't get planes, so they have to play without double white. All right, I think that the chaining stock-ups is something I'd like to collapse if I'm able to. Okay, another land, and now I have Hardcast Force available. I am chipping for damage. Not going to force a Ponder. Something like Teferi or Wandering Emperor obviously is getting the business. Another Scalding Tarn, which is another land that doesn't fetch basic planes. Ponder. All right. Let me get that sweet, sweet prowess trigger. Wow, these are good cards. Okay. I'm just going to put Cutter in my hand and play out end number 5 in case I need to force. And I'm not going to shuffle unless they do something I need to force. But at 6 mana, I can play Cutter, play Murktide, equip Cutter to Murktide. Or I can just use Force to protect the stuff I want to be doing. Right, Cutter is on the stack. Prowess, the first monk. Unholy Heat is on top of my deck. I'm likely to shuffle it away. Okay, do I want to bolt my opponent's head for damage? I think I do. Straight upstairs. Cook that smelly face of yours. I can force a Wandering Emperor and Wasteland the Tundra they cast it off of. Okay, Swords to Plowshares again. Post-Prowess trigger. That's an extra life I didn't need to gain. And that was a spell spent on a free game object that's already dealt them 6 damage. Okay, we're fetching the Scalding Tarn. Is it time to Supreme Verdict a single monk? Ooh, that was good sequencing. I'd never had a moment to Wasteland before they play that Mystic Sanctuary from hand. Targeting stock up from the graveyard. And there's the Verdict, killing another card that arrived for free. And I will fetch for my Steam Vents here. Just get that thing out of the mix. I'd love to draw a spell. Not a spell. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I guess it's just lethal, so I'll play out the land and play Murktide. Okay, Murktide, equip. I'm just going to go for it. If they have Pyroblast, I'm in the garbage. But that's about all they could have. One of their 3 cards in hand is stock up. Okay, Pyroblast, annoying. And I will constrict their mana as much as I can and hope to draw a cantrip at any time in the future. Like, what I could have done about that is just not equip the cutter and leave a hardcast force. Celestial Purge, hell yeah. Alright, Nature is healing if Celestial Purge is in a control deck. Preordain. Another Pyroblast, huh? Okay, stock up reloading from 0 is what my opponent has done. I am flooding out, but I do have a Force of Will in my hand. Opponent's got to land a Channeler. Okay, Channeler with Force Protection. They're dead in 2 hits to this thing. I guess I will make them interact with it. I have exactly enough lands to fetch here. Dress Down makes Channeler little for a turn, but does not defeat it. I don't think they have Null Drifters. I think they have just a couple of Dress Downs in a Jeskai control deck, which is the opposite of what I thought 20 turns of play ago against the same opponent. Swords to Plowshares. All right, let's have our fight. I don't get to Surveil because of the Dress Down, but I do get to cast a counterspell here. They've got 2 cards in their hand. Fetching down to 5. There's still 2 Lightning Bolts in my deck. Stocking up. Plenty of white removal in the deck. Lots of ways to see it. If this misses, they're in trouble, but it's very likely to connect Tamiyo. Okay. Hydroblast, not super helpful. Alright, did you find Swords to Plowshares? Are you willing to use Tamiyo to not go to 2 life? Okay. 2 damage. Alright, they're at 2 life, dead to my next Lightning Bolt. I can counter 4th Aerlingus or Pyroblast. Coming down the stretch here. Wandering Emperor. Can't counter that one. I could Hydroblast my own DRC so they don't gain 2 life. This also lets me Surveil. I'm going to try this. This is desperate times, but we're in that sweaty, weird spot in a game. Oh, the 2 life is worth Pyroblasting over. There's red in the pool. Change their mind. I don't want Bauble. Okay, so this is the decision made ultimately to go to 4. Pyroblast. I'm going to kill Tamiyo right now before this becomes a bigger problem than it is. Wandering Emperor is frustrating. Oh, they drew Lingus. Okay. Well, of course, them having that immediately makes the Hydroblast on my own creature look foolish. All right, yep, terrible matchup, and we were unsuccessful. But Cori-Steel Cutter was the MVP and got multiple great exchanges off of this opponent, like sometimes taking 2 or 3 cards to fully clean up a Steel Cutter. But unfortunately, this stock up engine is awesome. I wonder how many stock ups they play. Is it 3? Is it 4? Plus the Mystic Sanctuaries and the Tamiyos shredding through the deck like crazy. It's fun to see a deck like theirs succeed, and I never want to be this kind of deck against that kind of deck. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 4 with a full send hand. I'm going to keep and I'm going to send fully. Another hand that is severely hampered by the lands in the deck that don't tap for red. Lotus Petal, bummer. Sage of the Skies, hell yeah. Okay. When you cast a spell, if you cast another spell this turn, copy it. This is a 2/3 lifelink. All right. Cool. That's not as bad as I thought it would be. Another cutter. I'm going to wasteland the City of Traders, and then I have Lightning Bolt available to deal with one of these things. Yeah, this is another Tarkir Dragonstorm card that is Fringe Legacy playable. Not currently on my list to explore, but is pretty cool. I'm going to bolt the real one. Oh, fucking fuck. Putting Lightning Bolt in the graveyard on this board because I don't have a second red sword in my hand is such a tilt. All right. Got to erase this lifelinker. Well, that could happen. Island. I'm actually going to go to second main before I play Bauble, just in case I get Delirium here. Unholy Heat to the graveyard. Don't worry, I didn't get Delirium. Didn't matter after all. I would have preferred to block, though, or at least slow them down. Coppercoat Vanguard. So it's like a little human stompy action going on here. This is going to make Sage of the Skies a larger creature with Ward. It still doesn't affect combat. Incredible. All right. Well, I'm not going to concede because I still technically have game to play. Like just drawing a Ponder, I guess, could do a lot here. But just having Volcanic Island in my hand instead of Island or the third Wasteland is the difference between being completely stable and floundering for life with basically nothing left. I'm going to play Cutter second main in case I get a Delirium trigger. I'd rather have the 3/3 blocker. Solitude in response. Fun. All right. I gain 1 life. And then I get a Cori-Steel Cutter. And now I do what? Hope to draw Brainstorm into multiple removal spells consecutively. They pitch Seasoned Engineer. There's a Seasoned Engineer under Chrome Mox and pitch from Solitude. This is going to be a Cavern of Souls deck. Gotta come up with some sort of plan for that. Witchblessed Meadow. Last card in hand is Anointed Peacekeeper. Have a look at my hand. These are the cards it contains. I need to brainstorm into removal anyway. Now even Murktide's not good enough. Preordain. What can you do here? Murktide's not good enough. That's what I just said. Lightning Bolt. All right, Lightning Bolt is what I'm drawing to. I have to bottom both of these. Bottom. Red card. All right, Brainstorm. Find me a land and a red card, I guess. I should have been more specific. That's not the red card I wanted. But it's not bad either. All right. Put back the 2 Steel Cutters. Land red card. I'm back in, baby. Should have wastelanded. I'm going to waste your stupid Witch Meadow. Everything's coming in. Block. I think this is the best I can do. So I got a 1. I have 2 Steel Cutters on top of my deck. They're wastelanding me. All right. Yeah, drawing Wasteland there is probably enough. So I have to brainstorm into a raw, untapped, non-painful mana source and a Lightning Bolt. It's not those things. All right. Another game lost because Basic Island was not volcanic. Braid looks good here. Just things to survive a turn cycle or slow down what they're doing even a little bit. Consigned to Memory. We saw Solitude and Chrome Mox and Seasoned Engineer. I think Consign's good enough. I want all my burn spells. I want my forces. Daze is probably actually solid here. It might be a Chalice of the Void deck. Can I afford to shave a Bauble? Bauble's really important with the Cutters. Normally I shave Baubles pretty aggressively when I'm playing Bauble-fueled Delver decks. But this one has different wants and needs. All right, no lands at all. That's what I get for complaining about my basic. All right, I will keep this hand and put... In Meltdown is like a Braid, but doesn't kill creatures. If they go like Chalice or Chrome Mox Chalice, I'd prefer Meltdown. Okay, I think I'm going to bottom a Braid and keep the Meltdown just in case they have a prison hand. Off to a good start. Chrome Mox. Play 2 more of those. Ancient Tomb. Here's this shitbag. The trigger happens. Alright, you can have those. I'll try to tangle with Murktide. Another fetch land. I guess I just melt down here. Or do I play Steel Cutter and invest in the future? Alright, I'm going to play Steel Cutter and invest in the future. Probably not going to melt down for 2. City of Traders. We're not doing that shit. There's no white source in play. Lightning Bolt's a great draw here. Come on! Alright. I'm going to melt down for 0, which is pretty bad, but now if they want white mana, it's going to cost them their City of Traders. Another Chrome Mox, cool. I don't know if that was a sandbag or they just drew it, or if they just needed it. Coppercoat Vanguard. I think I've lost this game. There's different versions of mana issues, both games. Ponder, bring me back out of this. Ponder into Murktide, maybe we're playing. Okay, all right, all right. I see you, universe. Don't shuffle. Do play Murktide. That is a 2/2 and a 6/6. And I'll play the land out, whatever. I'm all in. They got one card in hand. Now it's up to 2. If they have Solitude here, it's going to empty their hand. Swords to Plowshares at least gains me some life to work with. And I could trigger Cutter again next turn. All right, working my way through this. Brainstorm. A Braid, okay. I can play with a Braid. Deal 3 damage to target creature, pay the ward. I'm going to go after the real creature because Petty Theft is a card that I play. Another Monk, yes, I will move it over. That leaves me a 2/2 back to block their 2/2, and I get to attack for 3. God, stop casting spells. All right, Esper Sentinel's not the scariest one. All right, I am dead if I don't draw a Lightning Bolt. All right, Brainstorm will not be able to pay the Esper Sentinel tax. It's a 2/1. Yeah, if that was 1/1, I think I'd pay, but for 2, you get to keep it. All right, universe. Let's keep this dream alive then, I suppose. Put back Bauble and Cutter, or do I want to draw Bauble first? I don't think I do. Okay, Bolt, the big one. They're going to get to draw a bunch more cards. Oh wait, nope. It's the first spell each turn. That's how Esper Sentinel works. I'm good. I'm good. We're safe. Safe and sound. Okay, attack for 3. Leave back my 1/1 and my 2/2. All right, they drew an extra card. There are 29 life to my 3. I need them to brick for multiple consecutive turns. There's a start. Okay, I am not going to play out this Steel Cutter because I know there is a way to trigger it next turn, which also lets me pay for Esper Sentinel. Okay, cool. All right, Cutter, and I will pay the 2. Yes, Prowess triggers, go nuts. Cutter, make 2 fresh friends. Grinding back, Bauble you. Witch Enchanter, well, that can kill my Cutters. Attack, attack, attack. Leave back the 2/2s. They can Witch Enchant one of them down to a 1/1, but that still blocks their creature. Drew another land, not what I need. Oh, Plains. So the second white source now important all of a sudden, or they just don't want to tap Ancient Tomb. Fair enough. All right. Life got a little harder. I still have a ton of creatures now. Spell. Damn it. Okay. We're in weird turtle garbage mode. I guess I will attack for 2 and then move the Cutter over manually. All right. That's something I can do every turn. All right, Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain. All these cards are good. Lightning Bolt. Caracas. I don't care about that. Okay, they're attacking with the Witch Meadow weirdo. I'll trade. Okay. Wasteland. I'm going to take out Ancient Tomb with this. I think raw mana count is more important than anything else at this time. And attack. Move Cutter over. Alrighty. Another Ancient Tomb. Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain. Bauble. I think it's better to hold the Bauble back and try to get a Cutter trigger. I'm currently doing stuff and my opponent isn't doing stuff. That won't hold forever. But at some point they were at nearly 30 life, and now they're down to less than that. Oh no. Does this just win? Target attacking Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, Wizard. Okay, these are soldiers. Alright, that doesn't just win now. It does just win next turn. Now, holding back the Bauble instead of looking for quick velocity looks terrible. Alright, deck. Ponder, Brainstorm, Lightning Bolt. Yeah! Alright. Brainstorm it is. I'll start with that. Brainstorm. Can I afford to pay for this thing? Probably not. Alright, enjoy your card. I need a lot of stuff to go right this turn, and I might need all my mana to do it. Oh. Oh! The Murktide manual equip option is here. That will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That'll do 8. And then I have, this will lose haste. Or no, this one's already equipped. I haven't done that yet. So there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4 4s in play. Do I have exactly lethal right now? All right, we're going for it. Put back Misty and Preordain. Fetch. Get the basic island. Murktide Regent. This triggers. I will move this. All right, this is 9, not 8. So I might have one more damage than I need. Bauble Prowess. Obviously, I just lose to a removal spell, but I have the option to send here. Bauble Prowess, Bauble Prowess. And if they have to block all the monks, they're out of creatures. Wowie zowie. Swords to Plowshares. I mean, puts me to 11 life, and they have to block at least 2 of these monks. All right, game on. And I get the Monarch, which doesn't do anything because I just tutored my basic. That's fine, but at least I have it, or the initiative. The Monishitive. Cavern of Souls on top of their deck. And I'll look at my deck too. Cutter. All right. They're drawing Cavern, which mostly doesn't matter. I'm trying to reload my hand. Okay. My position is not a bad one. I do need... Oh my god, wow, okay. All right. Dig in. Trust in the cutter. Trust in Brainstorm. I believe there was a point in that game where I said I need to Brainstorm into Cutter Murktide, or like Murktide Lightning Bolt, and then that exactly happened. All right, Brainstorm. Saved my life. What else is new? I don't think I want to change anything that's going on here. They don't have forests. I haven't seen a blue card. Grafdigger's Cage stops the Throne of the Dead 3 off of the last room of the initiative, but I hope we don't end up there. All right, back in. This is my deck. No lands at all. And although Stompy decks do have powerful turn 1s, they tend to anyway. Oh, there's a full house. Hell yeah. Even though Stompy decks have powerful turn 1s, you can't keep all in Force of Will hands the way you would versus a crazy combo deck. All right, I'm extremely worried about this hand, but it's not so bad I'm going to mulligan it. I'm going to get rid of Preordain. Opponent's on 5. Chrome Mox, so they're going to have 3 cards to actually play the game with. All right, these 2 dopes with... All right, I need Lightning Bolt is my draw that I want. Okay. Tamio's not bad either. Bauble you. Esper Sentinel on top of your deck. Here we go. I think I actually do want this stupid basic island. The ability to cantrip and work my way out of this at least a little bit is important to me. I don't have any red spells, much less double red spell right now. Tamio can absorb 1 of these attacks. Esper Sentinel in hand. Alright, deck. Red Source, we like it. Esper Sentinel, we hate it. How patient can I afford to be? If I'm willing to feed them cards, I could just Dragon's Rage Channeler plus Ponder right now, or I could Brazen Borrow, send the copy Sage of the Skies into Oblivion. I guess plussing Tamio is pretty powerful here. That's probably worth a card. At least I hope it is. All right. I'm going to attack with Tamio, and then I'm going to play DRC Brainstorm. And I think I am going to use the Steam Vents, because if they have Wasteland, that's the one I don't really want kicking around. I can't pay for that. Enjoy your card. Surveil Bauble straight to the graveyard. That one's not very good with Esper Sentinel around. Force blue card. I like a Braid. I'm going to put the 2 cantrips back. Or no, I want Ponder and a Braid back. That leaves me with a blue card to pitch to Force without losing my Brazen Borrower. Okay, here we go. Hoping that 1 card I fed them isn't too good. Luckily, this is City of Traders and not Ancient Tomb, or else it would be real easy for them. All right, these Sages, just getting in for 1. These wash out against the Tamio. She +2s every turn, and they attack for 2. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. I think I have to be okay with that. A land plus Tamio, pass. The top card of my deck right now is Ponder. So if I cast Brainstorm, I can surveil that away and get Delirium mid-combat. Here comes everybody. I think I'm more worried about Thalia than the big ones. So I'm going to go to blocks, block, and then cast Brainstorm. And because it's my opponent's turn, I surveil before Esper Sentinel triggers, which means I can pay for the 1, so they don't get the card. Murktide, Unholy Heat. I like all of this. I'm going to put back a Braid and Wasteland, because if I can Murktide with Force backup, I think that will win the game by itself. All right, cool trick. Now Force of Will's on. They have not cast a spell. This is just a 2/3. That's fine. Okay, plus Tameo. DRC has to fight now, but not if I play Murktide pre-combat. Would I rather have a 1/1 blocker on the ground or get 3 damage through? Right, how about I wasteland your ass? Let's start there. And yeah, let's have a race. And then Murktide, making it as big as I can. Cavern of Souls. All right. And they're afraid to attack. Got him on the run. I could Abrade minus Tameo, Abrade again. Or I could just plus Tameo and hold up my interactive spells. I think I like that. I'm probably going to Brazen Borrow this Chrome Mox at some point. Uh-oh. Did I blow it? Did I wait too long? Okay, so opponent wants to engage in initiative battles. My basic's already in play. They tutor a planes. Is Monk one of the things? Cleric, Rogue, Wizard, Warrior. Okay. No. We're safe from all of those. I have spells I could cast in the end step. I think I want to Petty Theft the copy Sage of Skies. Surveil. Ponder gives me a sorcery. I'll take it. I like Delirium here. Okay, that thing's gone. Ooh, Steel Cutter. I'll have to give them a card, but I get to roast them. I do really want the Monarchy. How do I make that happen for myself? There are only 3 card types in the graveyard. I need one of these instants to make it there. Oh, I can Abrade Sage of Skies, and then Unholy Heat is on for the other one. All right. 3 damage to target creature. Sage of Skies. I am not going to pay for Esper Sentinel here. Brainstorm, I like that card. And I'm going to plus Tameo and attack with both my creatures. Okay, they're not blocking. I get the initiative. I am going to Unholy Heat Seasoned Dungeoneer right now while I can. That just shuffled away my Brainstorm, by the way. All right, Heat the Dungeoneer. That's the one that does extra stuff. Volcanic Island. I am not interested. Okay, now we're in a slugfest. We can bash the initiative back and forth, but if they take the initiative, then they're ignoring Tameo, and I get to draw half my deck. And if they put 1 damage on Tameo, then I get to hold the initiative. And they're not winning the race versus Tameo either. All right, you can make one of your creatures bigger. Esper Sentinel's always a cool one to buff. That's a 3/3 now. Anointed Peacekeeper could make Tameo cost more. Seasoned Dungeoneer is what they have, though, and they're just going for damage. Does that even work? Does that make any sense? Just ignoring this Tameo? All right, so they're exiling my Murktide. I go to 14. Force of Will, thanks for showing up. Okay, I think I'd like half my deck in my hand. Yeah, we got a Tameo is just so insane in the chat. Yeah, I agree. She is very good at what she does. All right, I think I want to play Wasteland. They don't have a flyer. Did I find an Unholy Heat? Okay, I think getting the initiative. I did not find the other Unholy Heat. I don't even think Steel Cutter is very good here. Okay, I am going to Wasteland the Cavern of Souls. At least put that shield up. And then what if I go... All right, well, I'm going to take the initiative because that's happening. They've got 8 damage on the backswing. Okay, I have the initiative. I'm going to forge onto my Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's a 5/5 now. Second main, play 2 more Channelers. And I'll pass with a Wall of Permission up. I can't stop Seasoned Dungeoneer from getting through. I can hit them for super lethal next turn. Yeah, so Dungeoneer gets to connect and go into the archive. Esper Sentinel getting in 2. Anointed Peacekeeper on top. Archive just draws a card, but that could draw Peacekeeper. They did leave that on top. I will not be blocking here. All right, you get to draw Peacekeeper, which I can force, which lets me surveil 3 times. If they were sandbagging a Cavern of Souls and can name Lightning Bolt, that's probably pretty good. All right, Plains is what was being held back. Okay, force pitching Ponder, or force pitching Tameo. I'm not going to be Tameoing this game. They get to draw a card off their dope. Lightning Bolt on top. Lightning Bolt on top. Lightning Bolt on top. Not paying. 2 cards in hand. Even if it's White Card Solitude or Swords to Plowshares, I have another Force. They had Swords to Plowshares. And I still have another Force. Okay. I'll now go to my turn. And fetch. There's still a Volcanic Island left. Lightning Bolt targeting Sage of the Skies. You will not be drawing, or I will not be paying. You will be drawing a card. Don't need Steel Cutter. Don't need Daze. Don't need DRC. And attack for a gajillion with all my Lightning Bolts to finish them off. All right. Wow, what a battle. I don't know where my clock went. I think this deck is actually melting my brain. On to the final round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw in the final round, positive record on the line. I will keep. I like my Force, I like my cantrips. I will not be a coward. I will get Volcanic Island. Forest, Noble Hierarch. So probably some sort of Nadu thing. Wasteland. That's not effective against their mana. 2 mana and I can't waste any of it. Ponder. Yikes. I am going to shuffle this because just in case this is like Maverick or something with Wastelands in it, or Cradle Control that might have a Wasteland or two, I do not want to just lose because I went that route. Wow, it is Maverick. Fascinating. Okay. Well, I'm not in a position to play very well against Thalia, so I will force her. Bobble, best draw bobble. Oh, I'll take a force though. Okay, Wasteland, play a cutter. I'll get one invested. I can't trigger it now, but next turn I could cut plus ponder and then double cutter. I hardly know her. Ha 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 ha. Dump to Horizon Canopy. Maverick has historically been pretty reasonable against Delver. There was actually one of the online Eternal weekends during COVID where I chose to register Maverick on purpose, just because of its Delver matchup. I'd prefer not to have to force whatever happens this turn, but there's a good chance I will have to. Okay. I do not care about Endurance, not enough to spend a Force of Will on it. That costs me the Ponder, that triggers my cutters. Alright, in for one you come. Wowee. Okay, force blue card, back up here, cutter, ponder, start cutting up, monk, Murktide. All right, well, this is now a shuffle, and Tamiyo, not bad. I'm not going to bash here because these things can double block and Endurance together. Or not with Noble Hierarch. Maybe that didn't make sense, but I'll also happily take 4. Happily is the wrong word. I will agree to take 4 because it's correct, but I'm not happy about it. All right, deck, just something that triggers my cutters. That triggers my cutters quite well. Agreeable. Okay, I'm going to Wasteland the Lush Portico first. Floating a green. Then I'll play Tamiyo. And then I'm going to Unholy Heat Noble Hierarch. I think that's scarier than Dryad Arbor. And I have Force of Will if they actually have a green card to cast here. A Hierarch is floating mana as well. A second Endurance. Is this worth a Force of Will to me? It's a lot of damage. All right. I will force this. This is a million prowess triggers. I'm now Hellbent, but I have Tamiyo going. And I'm just crushing for 12. All right, all in. Any sort of Ponder, Preordain kind of card is the best thing I could do. Questing Beast. Pretty good. Can't be blocked by any of my creatures. If I draw an instant, that can change. Wow. All right, I'm going to die to Questing Beast. All right, so what I have to do here is attack with everything, draw a card with Tamiyo, and hope it's Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt? Fuck. All right, well, I'm dead. Just slugging it out. And they ended up at 3. All right, cool. Well, GG. Questing Beast, too good. A Braid is coming in. Submerge! Look at this Submerge, just in my sideboard for reasons that are unclear, but now there it is. This is a Green Sun Zenith strategy. Kind of their whole thing. They're pretty good at getting ahead of days. Thali is good against baubles. I don't think I'm going to Price of Progress them successfully. Alright, here's my plan. One spell or one die roll away from winning that one. No mana. Not even the Submerge is on. Alright, I'll keep this one and Force of Will's out of here. Doesn't have anything backing it up. I am just going to play Channeler, and I hope that their turn is a Noble Hierarch pass. Plains. Mother of Runes. Okay, that qualifies. Ah, now I have to think. Can I ever beat this Mother of Runes? Can they ever beat Steel Cutter this early? Alright, I'm going to try to cut some steel. Murktide to the graveyard. Bauble. Steel Cutter. Brainstorm. I mean, Brainstorm's pretty good. But it's not a land. A land is what I really want. Alright, Brainstorm to the graveyard. I will absolutely offer the trade with Dragon's Rage Channeler. And then Bauble you, drawing Windswept Heath. Alright. That is a decision based on the texture of my hand. Just hoping that I can fling enough damage at their face all at once that Mother of Runes is not a big factor. Zenith for 1. Birds of Paradise. Alright, that's what we're doing. Land? Bummer. Alright, Channeler's good too, though. The Ponder will get me Delirium, even if the Surveils don't do anything. Cutter still triggers. Tamio, you're too slow for this matchup. Channeler, don't want that. I'm kind of in the market for a land, and almost nothing else. Lands and Lightning Bolts are what I want. Okay, a Braid, Grafdigger's Cage. I'm going to put the land in my hand, and I'm going to attack. Okay, this Lightning Bolt, if they get too clever with Mother of Runes, Lightning Bolt's going to cause a big problem. And if they don't get clever enough with Lightning Bolt, it's also a big problem. Alright, just pitch casting and Endurance is fine. We knew that was possible. Lightning Bolt could refresh some Delirium, perhaps, or if they're trying to line up any sort of interaction here. Cool. Alright, they're going for the thing, and this is where Lightning Bolt cooks them. Bolt Mother of Runes, which will give me 2 Surveils and 2 Prowess triggers. Brainstorm. I will keep that at this point. That is powerful card selection, and it triggers the cutter that's sitting in my hand right now. Hardcast Endurance next turn puts a lot of meat on the battlefield. If I get choked right now, I could lose control of this. Night of Autumn. That's a fun one. Yeah, more where that came from. And that puts an artifact in my graveyard. Recutter. Prowess triggers, Surveil triggers. I am not guaranteed... Oh my god. Alright. I am not guaranteed Delirium this turn, but it would be wild if I miss. Alright, they're just conceded to that. Alright, multiple cutters. The mono red hand cut you up. On the draw. I already have all my removal in. Daze doesn't get better on the draw. Yeah, this is my deck. Big showcase of Steel Cutter there. Okay, I like having Unholy Heat this early. I don't like the double Murktide. I do like the double Steel Cutter. Ooh, leading on Horizon Canopy. That's dirty. That is not where they want to be if they can avoid it. I am just going to delete this thing now. Drawing the Force is insane. Zenith. I think I'm going to let this go. Fight over the payoffs. All right, Mother of Runes. That is likely to be in play for the whole game at this point, unless I draw Bolt right now, which I did not do. Okay, I'm going to play out a Cutter and give myself the ability to draw any 1-drop in my deck for a huge turn next turn. Scrib Ranger. This card is tough to beat. All right, that is worth a Force of Will because that represents a ton of mana. They can untap Dryad Arbor with it. They can untap Mother of Runes in combat with it. I can't attack Murktide into it. There's lots of problems with that one. All right, I think I want to waste Dryad Arbor. Little risky here. That does delete my second mana source. Opponent's down to 1 card and 2 mana, though. Hopefully, I can get ahead of this. All right. Well, they're at 1 card, and I'm at 0 mana. All right, 0 cards. They have Mother of Runes to mine nothing. Easy game. Okay. I need to draw something useful before they get their hooks in. And I'm a little cutter flooded right now. My next land representing Murktide is a huge animal on this board. They've got Surveil lands, I don't. They kept their card. Hate that. Something as simple as Endurance just sets this Murktide back to 0. It does put all these lands back in my deck where I could draw them, though. Zenith for 1. All right, are we building mana, or is there like a Reclaimer kind of thing? Yeah, just building mana. Investing in the future. The Birds of Paradise plus Mother of Runes also means that Murktide's not getting through. All right, how far down this rabbit hole can I afford to go? There's Wasteland here, but that's not the mana I was looking for. Next turn, I could brainstorm, hope to find something else. I don't really want to just be playing out cutters, and if they Wasteland me, I'm so dead. Like a Zenith for Raminep Excavator, if that's a thing they do, is lights out. If I am going to keep this on the strength of Brainstorm, should I Wasteland them now? I don't think I want to be Wastelanding them, though. I think I'm actually going to shuffle this. Lightning Bolt, not what I was looking for, but I just need them to kind of flood out a little bit, like enough for me to cast a spell. Drawing with Horizon Canopy, a good sign. All right, Force of Will gives me a little bit of agency here. And if I Force plus Bolt, that creates a monk on their turn. Can't bolt their creatures, though, because Mother of Runes is busted. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I'm actually going to play Cutter here and invest in going wide, because going tall doesn't work because of Mother of Runes. And having Force Blue card up when the balance is so tight is comforting to me. Knight of the Reliquary. Well, this is the kind of shit I would have held Force of Will for. So here we go. Oh no, you have Pyroblast, you sick maniac, you sick fucking maniac. All right. Well, there we go. Pyroblast off of Birds of Paradise. The big reveal, the big twist. And I can't do a damn thing about it because of Mother of Runes. I guess I'm just going to play another Cutter here, but now Knight of the Reliquary can get a Wasteland every turn, and I'm basically locked out. I would have to draw Brainstorm. Or, I mean, getting me dead in 2 hits is a respectable way to go as well. Okay, this is a red creature and a white creature. That's good news. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Lightning Bolt your smelly face. Like, Swords to Plowshares here wins the game. Yep, and there it is. Yep, Wasteland in the graveyard, and then I make 3 monks, and then I lose. I do appreciate the discipline there of just attacking for 8. I'll attack with 2 of these, as if my opponent's going to forget that they have Mother of Runes. Play around Submerge. What if I had Submerge? What if that was the one card in my hand? Oh my god. Moloch. Alright, this fights one of my monks. Yep. Alright. Had me covered all over the place. Okay, a 2 and 3 final record with Cori-Steel Cutter Izzet Tempo. I actually felt like the mana was bad here. I mean, obviously, the list went 9-0 through a challenge, so it can win. I also was not at my tightest here between playing combo and stompy decks, because that's what's defined the format for the last year, and control decks, because that's what I like to do in my free time. I've played very little tempo, especially very little tempo with Dragon's Rage Channeler, with blue-black being the premier tempo deck for the last year. And Cori-Steel Cutter is a new card that has another layer of when and how you cast your spells attached to it. There is a pretty steep learning curve here, and I have a lot of muscle memory for this sort of thing. I have played a lot of Delver in my life, but my brain melted a couple times. A few times I was also thinking really hard, then realized my clock was just gone. That mono white matchup, I think I had like 3 minutes left to their 15 or something. I don't even remember thinking that much. All that said, though, I wonder if there is a better way to cast our spells here, because the 5 non-red lands hurt way more in this build than I have ever felt them hurting before. And with 5 baubles, you have an extra bauble and 2 extra cantrips over the normal, like 4 bauble Brainstorm Ponder business. So you should see more cards with this build than a traditional attacking Delver style, like all your creatures are actually creatures version. but it might be just so important to have mana producing lands in play that cast your spells on time and in the correct sequence, like multiple cards in your deck care about that, that maybe we just don't play 4 Wastelands, or maybe we play a 19th land if you still want your 4 Wastelands, which may or may not be correct in a deck that's trying to go into the mid-range like this. Like, we don't have Delvers, we have Tamiyo. And Cori-Steel Cutter, ideally, we're attacking with something on turn 2 with this. That's why we're playing 5 baubles. But if you're wastelanding early, then that's not likely to happen. Your best case scenario is a wasteland on turn 3 if you actually have your attacker down. It's very different than Delver, critical mass of 1-drops, and then you can start wasting immediately. That'll be something to think about and figure out as this deck develops. Those are my final thoughts there. Maybe the mana could be better. I feel like the games I lost, I either misclicked and countered my own spell or couldn't cast my spells to begin with. And casting spells is all we want to do with Steel Cutter as that's the centerpiece of the deck. Obviously, this deck felt really powerful. The Cutter getting to work felt insane when it went off. And in the spots where it didn't go off, like that final round, I had 3 of them in play for multiple turns and couldn't generate a monk. How do we maximize for this to actually happen? Historically, Magic decks, going all the way back to the beginning of tournament Magic, the solution to a tempo deck is to be a little bigger and splash white. The Grow decks ended up, that was like a Simic tempo deck way back using Quirion Dryad as its beatdown thing. And those decks, eventually, they figured out the solution to the mirror was to splash white for Swords to Plowshares and then play bigger threats like Mystic Enforcer. In the Treasure Cruise era, Treasure Cruise Delver, the solution was Treasure Cruise Jeskai Stoneblade. I wonder if we should not be messing around with Daze Wasteland Dragon's Rage Channeler at all, and Cori-Steel Cutter could just be in a Jeskai Stoneblade deck. It's even an equipment if you somehow value tutoring that over Cauldra. Or maybe you don't even need Stoneforge Mystic. It could just be a deck with Teferis and Narsets and the ability to actually clock the opponent. Play it like Monastery Mentor used to be played in control decks. Cool stuff to think about. Very cool card. I'm sure I'll be playing with and against it more as I wrap my brain around it more. Dragons of Tarkir, or Tarkir Dragonstorm, that's what the set is called. Tarkir Dragonstorm continuing to deliver sweet cards for our format, coming right through standard as Richard Garfield intended. Thank you to my anonymous patron for sponsoring this video. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.